players here. Lecce, Ardit, Mongrel, and Noah Riley all posted up right on top of this barn and also right on the edge of that next safe zone.
He's got a shockwave launcher that has been doing very well. I think 3 out of the 4 games the player has won with actually using it. That last game we saw it actually get defeated there. The question is, will Noah be able to reign supreme with it? With only 27 builds, I don't think he's going to be able to do it. He's got to get this elimination down below. Dropping through the rafters, though, will give him an opportunity to get a shot, but it misses. As a third party coming through, Noah Riley suddenly finds himself in a situation he does not want to be in, and the quick edits out will return him to the high ground, but there's not much to work with here. He's already farmed it all out.
Yeah, and he's going to now start breaking those builds. You saw they were already damaged, just trying to get as much wood without actually converting over, but he is quite literally right on the white line of the zone with so many sharks in the water right around him. You saw Mongrel saying, nope, I'm getting out of there, and if Mongrel's rotating away from the situation, you probably don't want to get stuck in it either. But Noah Riley, if anybody has the loadout to make it work, it's him with the mythic weaponry, particularly in close quarters. You have so many options available to you, and that mythic shark shotgun hits so hard, and it's Lecce who he hits so hard, 12 HP being the difference, and then immediately boxes, edits himself up, and he's going to pop those shields, get the med kit off, and try and defend. But no, only 1 mini he's able to get off. Again, going to break away and just going to opt to use the shockwave launcher to create some space, use some natural cover there, and the ramp that was pre-built to hopefully now pop that med kit. But Clement is nearby, just cone camping.
That was too close for comfort there for Noah Riley. Got that Elam, but not as many matches he was hoping for it, and hopefully able to continue his streak going through. But now we're on board here with Rezon. Same kind of situation. A lot to work with in the inventory, but not a lot of matches. And look, he's looking to set up. Oh, crash pad into the top. Will he get in? No, the cone's going to prevent it, but he's all the way in. He doesn't care. This player being a little bit too careful with their builds, and they wanted that drop, and they're not going to be able to get it. Is Rezon going to get the drop on them as they're continuing the crash pad? Crash pad in, trying to get the player out, and shots go through, and PCH going to go down yet again.
Really good job from Reason there to hound that fight out, saw all of the excess loot that was coming in there, knew if he was able to close that out, he'd be able to just kind of advance himself into the game. And notice too, he pulled that 4th zone. He's right on the edge of that, so he should be looking to see how many extra materials he was able to pick up from PCH there and just build himself a nice little base, expand out, get deeper into that zone, and then own all of that territory possible, make it harder for people to rotate back over. Because now we're going to swing on board here with Hen, who was 6th coming into this match. Another big opportunity for him to rocket up the leaderboard with his teammate Rifla going down.
He's got to make a very, very good slate of decisions in front of him. When does he rotate? Does he rotate now? If you look, he's got a good white line there. Only 1 player standing between him and that. And he's actually going to choose to go around to the top. But he assumes that there's not that many players coming this way because it came from Steamy. But look how many arrows assume that as well. And so, unfortunately, he's got a lot of players this area. He's trying to set up an ambush, but nobody is going to fall for it. Kane is going to be the one nearest there as he does get some shots, but this is not where Hen wants to be. He's going to have to get creative on this next piece of the rotation because Kane's going to sit in the cone. He's got to realize that, and he does. He puts the ramp. He knows immediately that that cone in the middle of all these builds is a little bit fishy.
It's a little bit fishy. You can also tell as soon as it enters that edit state, it's no longer that fully built. If you see a non-fully built cone, you have to be wary of it. But that player trying to catch an advantage of Hen, and Hen says, joke's on you. Welcome to the chicken coop. I'm the boss here. Takes him down. No problem closing in on that second placement threshold. But Hen trying to catch up and take over that #1 spot, being the top legend. But now on board, one of the favorites is Rezon, who has had a relatively decent performance today, just on the outside of the top 15 coming into this game, but it's not been the consistency we've seen out of him in the heat stage, finding it a little bit harder to cement himself in those consistent top 15s and top 10s that he was so well known for during the qualifiers.
And every day you play Fortnite, somebody gets better, somebody improves, and somebody comes out of nowhere, and you've got to be on top of that. And for some of these players, sometimes, it doesn't end up working out that way because of the RNG factor. It's unfortunate to see him go down there as we see a fight happening between Wolfies and Serenity swaps as Rezon going to look to get some third parties there, is actually shooting through an open edit there, not shooting through a wall, as he does get some tags onto swaps, as swaps is dropping down onto Wolfies, and Wolfies is actually going to fall.
And we've seen this time and time again. We've kind of talked about it. Wolfies is really good when he's the aggressor, but he can kind of be taken advantage of when you go back on him. And that's what we've seen time and time again. And that's kind of what European solos is about. Like, yes, you can be good when you have all the tempo, but pretty much every other one of these players is good at playing high tempo. As Reason identifying the fact that that fight had been resolved, immediately crash pads over, and he's able to pick that one up. Now he has 3 players worth of loot over on the side with priority on zone. He's going to be somebody to keep an eye on to potentially take advantage of the fact that 3 of the players in the top 7 have already fallen. Tayson, another player we want to keep an eye on. He was top 10 before coming right into this. He's able to pick up Steelix with just 1 HP to spare before that siphon ends up coming through, and that's a 2-point swing as we hit top 50.
And he finds the extra minis as well. This is so good. He gets the flopper off. He's going to have minis to refill the ones that he's trying to take. And he finds a good path to zone as well. This was very, very clutch in getting into this end game, because had he not found that, he would have been very, very, very much in shambles. Rezon nearby, Mawaka there as well, as we get Nebby, Arion Carton there on your screen, Mr. X as well, advises there. A Savage now in this end game as well, 17 points. So he needs 2 back-to-back perfect games to get to that top.
Yeah, and it's somebody who's very good at executing in the mid and the late game. We've seen time and time again 100 Thieves, Mr. Savage, and we've also haven't seen as much as we did before. The peppers in play. When you eat those peppers, you get a huge move speed boost, and it lasts for a minute. So when you get in these late game circles, it gives you a lot more options and a little bit more versatility when you're in these fights. And right now, Savage doesn't have one activated, but using that crash test dummy, hoping to avoid an explosion right here and potentially be the one to cause a little bit of demolition derby. Gonna drop in the box, finds the first shot, finds the second, can't quite convert right now, 5 HP, and he gets taken down. Mr. Savage, 17 points, going to be on the outside looking in when it comes to contesting for the top spot. Both him and Benji, 2 of the fan favorites, effectively eliminated from that Axe of Champions competition. But want to know who's not? E11 Tayson up on the high ground right now, just raining shots down in that full built metal base, and then using the ramps around the side to cut off any angles on players who might punish him. And a great hip fire shot onto Smudge, then converting afterward, then right away popping the crash pads and trying to head over towards that player to potentially scoop up whatever he can get as we close in on top 40. That's placement points going over in the next rotation, moving out.
And what a stark contrast where we saw him on the low ground, had high ground all of a sudden, and now fragging out is getting elimination after elimination on 3 now, looking to pick up number for that player. No shields remaining, no builds remaining as well. That's going to be Young Bob going down. Tayson now looking for elimination number 5, not going to be able to get it. He's got a good amount of mats as well. 2 crash pads remaining in the inventory, so he can make it into zone number 7 and 8 as it pulls away from him. He's going to look for any eliminations that he can, but he decides, you know what, I'm going to get ahead of zones, then look back, because that is the best way to find these eliminations, as players are not paying attention to the head of zone.
And you can see top 25 ticking over. Hen does go down there as well. There's a player who's contending towards the top. But Tayson, the winner of Heat 2, trying to push forward and cement his spot. He has now tied Rifla, who is the leader coming into this. This is his opportunity to take over the front spot. And notice what he's doing so well is he's tarping out and he's using the full builds and he's staying towards the front part of the zone. And then he doubles back right here looking for picks. This is something when you have execution, you have space, no one else is on your level, you turn eliminations in by doing this, because he knows he's safe and he can continue moving on a horizontal level while also harassing his opponents. Top 20 ticks over now. Tayson going to continue contributing there. 43 points for the E11 player.
And he goes into zone to crash play because he wanted to be safe doing it, did not want to risk it. He's got the flopper. So that damage he took is effectively null. He's back up to 200 effective HP, but 18 players remaining. He's going to have to make a play, and he's already looking for high ground. He's second high right now, but the drop down going to ensue. Swee's going to fall there to Milan. The shot's going through. Tayson getting challenged, but he's going to get an elimination there. Again, now on 6th elimination. Bayon going to go down. Flopper Michael going to fall as well.
And you can see Mongrel up on the high ground, Snazy on the low ground, everyone else in between. Scram still up in this lobby. Nate, Milan, Cartoon up as well. Frenzy Fishy dipping back into the storm. That's the flopper play. Going for a late high ground take right now, and he's trying to push forward. Frenzy Fishy up on the high ground, but now dropping back in. This is the box-to-box fight. He's able to pick it up. That is a huge elimination. Reason right over the side, but it's all Tayson all the time. 9 eliminations, pushing forward for top 5, and he's saying right now, I can cement this #1 spot. I can take away the game. I can make you chase me in game number 6 as he closes in for top 3, and he's still hunting. He has that mythic charge shotgun. He says, I'm not just a shockwave player. 11 eliminations, 2 of the players go down, and it's Reason, arguably the strongest solo player, wire to wire, against what is the strongest solo player on the day right now in E11's Tayson. Tayson up on the high ground, Reason on the low ground, and that little bit of Old Man Mountain, he doesn't have to be too large, but it's going to burn Reason through the last of his resources. He's standing out there spraying, no builds left, and Tayson converts, and he does so in a monstrous way. 12 eliminations, add the 14 points for the victory royale. That's 26 points in match number 5. What?
What an insane performance from Tayson. The lead has been blown out of the water, and now it's just going to be about who can play matchup. Can Rifla do it? Can Deceptos do it? Or will Tayson take game number 6 as well?
My goodness. Tayson, while we're all sitting here running this marathon, this short baby sprint, he's sitting there letting everyone just take off, get that lead. He's like, oh my gosh, no way, everyone's here. They're all running ahead of me. Saves enough in the tank to get the victory royale and the biggest comeback he needed. Ball, what is going on?
It was clinical, man. It was absolutely clinical. It felt like every shot was connecting, and he was making all these quick decisions. There wasn't a time in there where he paused, where he took a second to breathe. He didn't stop at all. Foot on the gas, and he takes it all the way up to the top. What a performance from Tayson.
I feel like there was one person on his keyboard and a separate person on his mouse because he was playing movement and aim perfectly, Tayson. And that's why I'm going to say he's 100% first place right now, holding stuff off from everyone else. The question is completely right, though. Who can catch up to him? Because he's a pack leader by so many points. Oh, my goodness.
And there was definitely some instances where this opportunity arose. We always think of EU, the winners, ending up coming out in the last 2 games. But something else also interesting is that Tayson won Heat 2. And if you think back to FNCS duos and FNCS squads, both of the winners of Heat 2 in squads, it was Red Rush, Drobbin, Snappy, and Wakey. In duos, it was Andalex and Nate who ended up taking that X of Champions. Now, all of a sudden, it looks like it might happen again.
It's his destiny. It's Tayson's destiny to win this entire tournament, this entire region, and it's been decreed. The question is, can anyone flip the story, flip the switch? Rifla, Deceptos, Hen, Reason. It's their last game to have a stand, have a say in it. XB's Thomas, I mean, if Tayson can do it, if he can be at this spot, 20th place, 30th place, and shoot all the way up, any of these guys could too.
And they all have the capability. Again, we talk about this quality factor. These guys have made it here. They have fought through the gauntlet. They have what it takes to cement that win. They just have to make it happen. 1 game left. We thought it's all, Rifle is at the top, and there's no way. And suddenly Tayson said, no, everyone stand aside. My time is right here, right now. And that's what these guys need to do.
And don't forget, in the Invitational, it was Janice, Tayson's duo partner, but all of a sudden it seems like the skills have transferred because Tayson has not stopped this weekend. He stands above and beyond the rest of 16 points. But if you looked at that top leaderboard, there was a big question, right? Because we were saying, oh, it's Deceptos, oh, it's Rifla, oh, these guys, Latwick has an opportunity. But I talked about conversion last time you guys saw me, and all of a sudden those guys fell. They dropped like flies. Absolutely every single one of them ended up dropping and gave Tayson and so many others the opportunity. But it feels like Tayson took and strangled all the opportunity from everybody else.
That is how it goes sometimes, man. We keep talking about it. Those guys at the top, they have to hold on. If they can't, this will happen.
Yeah, I'm going to give you my natural reactions to what I thought this game would look like. Wow, Anas, I'm so hyped and ready for you to be playing this out to get all the way back up to first. And here we go. Power in control. He's waiting for shots and making sure everything's looking good for himself, but he gets beamed out too.
It's Carrot, who lurks in the authority again since the Invitational, and he stops Letwick's reign up there, but Rifle had nothing in the tank there against Scram. There was a big shift in player behavior in this game and how they were playing so aggressive. The only guy out of that top 5 who made it towards the end was the Sictos, but a huge shot from Waka out of a peak box to make it count.
And if these jumbo jets of players are not there to rule the skies towards this end game, it's Tayson that takes that flight plan, takes Sword all the way and takes flight actually into this game and holds down things. Starting off a little bit slow, gets 1 or 2 elims from mid to end game, but then you saw what happened when the zone started to close down. You saw how proficient he was with every decision that he made.
And when you talk about proficiency, how he didn't stop at all in this game, it's because of this new season, because the crash pads actually activate people in mobility to get this far in the game and then do things like this. Tayson finding the moments where players are going to drop in to old bases for where he could find elims, and then again, decisive dropping down, gets another one, and he does not stop.
Every shot he took was still from cover looking out towards the open, so it was literally perfect. There was nothing wrong with what he was doing at all.
Not at all, and even when players start to get aggressive on him, he will respond in kind. He only has a charged shotgun and a burst AR, but he makes it work even close range, and then it's just follow up. Down below, another peek box. He finds another. This is it. Look at this shot. The flick jump onto the player on height, the biggest threat, and Tayson takes him out so fast. Another quick build, and boom.
He actually lands the shot, lands the landing, and then gets hyped with another back-to-back past that. The left peak, followed by the right one as well. Reason had no idea what he was up against, and Tayson was on fire with so much hot momentum. What a performance.
If you blinked, you missed it, because I don't know where the shockwave launcher went, but he still had Kit's charge, and that's apparently all you need if you're Tayson. I'm getting scared for everybody. 16 points, but also if he does what we saw in Heat 2, which is back-to-back wins, all of a sudden this might be over and done with.
I'm reading my notes here. I think I'm seeing there's a new mythic player on the map, and if he's in the end game, if he's near height, this man is winning, so watch out for Tayson in Game 6.
The tone has shifted. Can Tayson hold down that #1 spot, or will someone step up and try to dethrone him? Let's get ready to get into the last game here in EU. Sundown, Clay, take it away, guys.
Thank you so much, gentlemen, and it all comes down to this. After 40 possible matches in each weekend, 80 possible during the course of the qualifiers, then the 6 in the heats, then 5 in the grand finals, we have 1 match remaining, and the tail of the tape is E11's Tayson taking out his former duo partner in Steamy Stacks for the first of 12 eliminations to secure the victory royale in a 16-point lead coming into the final match. Clay, can anybody catch him, or is it a wrap?
The only way somebody can catch him is if somebody here in Steamy decides that they want to push and get this elimination. There's somebody nearby as well. It's either Kinsel or Janice. They know they land here. They have an opportunity. It's going to be Kinsel there to shut him down if they want to and go on a run of themselves. But it would need to be quick and decisive. As we saw last game, Tayson took down Janice. He did not care if they were doing mates. He did not care if they were landing in the same spot. He said, you know what? Nah, this game, I'm going to go on my own little spree. I'm going to write my own destiny.
And that's what it's all about. We talked about it. There's no love lost. It's the solo competition. There is 1 Axe of Champions up for grabs, and everyone is currently chasing Tayson for it. You can see Benji picking up an Elim in the feed there. So who besides E11's Tayson is currently in the running? Rifla sitting in second place at 42 points, needs 16 to close it. He is the closest. Then you have Deceptos at 41, Hen at 40, Reason at 40, Vadil at 38, Snazy at 38, and then we'll keep Letwick in the conversation as well at 37, that's 21 points back. So that's 7 eliminations plus the victory royale.
And it sounds like a lot because it is, but these players can do it. These players can make the play. We just saw Tayson do just that. But of course, it's all contingent on if Tayson goes down. If he's able to make it into that top 25, into the top 15, top 10 placement points, then your chances are very, very, very slim of toppling him.
Yeah, the longer he stays in the game, the more that delta closes. And now we're going to swing back on board here. Anas potentially looking to set up a nice little door ambush. We've seen this a number of times before. The reason players will hang out by doors is because a lot of players will either interact with doors right away or have auto interact set. What that means is when they walk up and they open the door, they're unable to take any other action because you're locked out while you're performing that animation. If a player walks in right on the other side of the door, this is a Nos looking to manufacture an elimination, and Bitfox might be the one on the other side of it.
He is setting the trap, and the cheese, you got to wonder how tasty it'll be here for Bitfox as he's falling for it. He's walking right into Nas is going to get the shot. The trap has been sprung. Bitfox down to 23 HP, and Nas really needs this elimination if he wants to contest it. Bitfox trying to stay out and run away, but Anas going to pick that one up.
And that's so good. We talked about it last game. We talked about doing everything possible in your power to set it up, to be successful, to manufacture these points when you need to climb that grind and get up and catch somebody like Tayson, where every single point matters. We can see some early shots coming out here. Can he potentially find the tags, convert it into elimination? And looking on the bottom right-hand corner, nobody's really threatening even remotely close to him right now.
Indeed, and this is what you want if you want to get that first place. He says he's just going to get gifted an elimination on the handy.
And that's so huge. Every single point pushing him that much farther up. And it reminds me so much of Bugha during the Solo World Cup when he threw a couple of rifle shots there in the final game, was able to pick up an elim, and he just laughed to himself. Tayson got to be laughing to himself right now. If you're in Party Royale, hit him with that hee-haw emote. Let him hear the donkey laugh, because that's what Tayson has to say after throwing one singular AR bullet, but you saw him looking at it. You knew there was a third-party opportunity, and that's what makes the best player in Europe just the best. You've got to throw those shots over there.
And we also need to point out, yes, this is for first place as well. That is the goal everyone is playing. But everybody's going to get money for just coming here and making it here today. These are some of the best, if not the 100 best solo players in the European region. Sundowner said it. This is the most played in, most competitive region of the world, and it's not going to be easy to just even make it here. So Slender and Kezek, while they are fighting it out, and while one of them may fall here, they have done so much just to get here, to get their moment right here on the screen as Kezek is turning to fight in his favor. The pistol being used, it's breaking through the build, and Slender unfortunately gonna fall there.
Slender being taken down, and that's just a reminder again, this is the top 0.001% of players. This is the best of the absolute best, and they're competing against her after a grueling qualifying and heat process. Is now on board with Wolfie as the second place in the Duo World Cup, but having a tough run of it today on the opposite side of AR Bafa, who we've seen a number of times more than capable of taking these fights. So it should be a good little battle right here, but Wolfie's continuing trying to play the aggressor. We talk about his rough day, only 8 points after 5 games, and doesn't want to be sent out here, wants to have at least some form of a stamp on this game, even if it is just as a spoiler. But with 5 HP, the young lord from the UK will bow out of the competition at just a measly 8 points coming over.
And AR Bafo is someone that has kind of come into that W key role and kind of taken it over for a lot of these players. And right there, someone who was really good at pushing that left stick forward back a couple of months ago. Right now, falling just a little short again. He was coming off an injury, so not in his full form there, but still, what a performance by Wolfies to just make it here today and put those 8 points up. Rezon, however, one of those players that could contend for the top. Again, you would need Tayson to go down before placements points started being divvied out. If he goes down in top 76, that is good for Rifle, good for Rezon, but the likelihood of that happening are very, very slim.
Especially because we saw Tayson early on grab whatever loot and mats he can and then just sprint towards the center zone. that first round of placements will be falling over in with just 4 more players going down, so a little bit quicker of a pace here. As you can tell, everyone trying to push it a little bit, get a couple of eliminations, get a couple placement points, try and move your way past that next player, maybe get a pay upgrade. And if you're hanging out for the first time watching us in Party Royale and you're not necessarily used to competitive Fortnite, first of all, welcome. Thank you for joining us. You might be wondering, hey, how do I get involved with this? How do I play in these matches? How did these players get here? Well, the first step is to go in and play in the arena. That is where you'll be able to earn hype, which is where you're gauged and then placed into different levels of play. You can end up getting into contender, and then you're up into champion, which will allow you access to different tournaments depending on where you're ended up placing. All of these players have grinded to the highest level, which is that champion level, which then grants access to certain cash cups as well as the FNCS. Then you can compete in those open tournaments to try and make the final rounds, which guarantee qualifications into the heats. And then after these heats, which were played on Friday and Saturday, you get the grand final. So again, when we talk about that 0.001%, these players have done it all, and they're very much so at the top of the game. 74 left, so 1 point going down to everyone, and that includes Taysom.
It also includes Rifla as well as Reese on there. Thomas HD picking it up. Janice nearby as well. Thomas has got to be very careful here. If he is being a little bit too greedy, farming up a little bit too much too soon, he could start to go down as Janice is going to look to take him down. The builds are just not building there for him as he does take a lot of damage. 62 HP. He does have the RPG in his inventory, so he could turn that around if he gets the opportunity to, but he's got to be careful. Janice being aggressive. RPG out. It's going to hit the tree, but it doesn't do any damage. 27 HP. He's trying to side jump, but the ramp going to cut him off there as Janice continuing to pressure up. Thomas HD is getting WD'd, and Janice is going to be the one to take him out.
Thomas's attempt at a run will go down there. He was 12th trying to enter in here. We had talked about it. We'd hyped him up. We'd shown just how good and accurate he could be, but ran into Janice there, the FNCS Invitational Champion, in a tough 1v1. Again, it would have been an outside chance looking in, but now there is no chance as his FNCS is over. He's just hoping he can hold on to whatever spot in the top 20 as he's going to drop down from where he is right now after only picking up a singular point there. But now back on board with Flowis, who has that hunting rifle out. He's looking to catch a cheeky headshot here right around the corner.
Oh, he's setting it up. He's getting so close. He's waiting for the opportunity to get it, taking his time, and he does hit it, but it's a body shot, not a headshot. Unfortunately, that will give him the pressure, though, that he needs to do. He's got the crash pad, set it up into the box. He goes with that player new, and the diagonal box out gonna come through, and Flowis not able to capitalize on that elimination. He was so sneaky when it mattered the most, but unfortunately, only the body shot coming through from him, but he gets tagged up by a third party, and now the player he headshot, or the body shot rather, is gonna push him. It's going to be Kylix going aggressive, and Kylix needs elimination as well. Move into the upper echelon of prizing, and Flowis is just looking to try to make a run here. Flowis 23 HP, ticking down. Cashback comes through, and Kylix is gonna come out on top.
Tries to enter the bounce house, but unfortunately a little too much for that one. Got a little rowdy. They're going to kick you out. And it was Kylix who was the bouncer, pulling him out, ending his FNCS run. No attempt for heroics here from Flowis, but peeking back on over. Again, Tayson, match number 5 winner, 26 points in that game overall. Currently had a 16-point game there. You can see Tayson now holds the largest lead between first and second all weekend so far, so it's just an act of holding on. And even then, if he goes down here, it's going to take a heroic effort from somebody in the top 10 to not only convert on a victory royale, but pick up a number of eliminations to even come close to matching that 12 elim victory royale we just saw. And currently sitting on 60 points, it looks like this might be a victory lap for him.
It looks that way indeed, but he's set up in a very awkward spot. He's got a player held out of zone. He's also got 2 players on the mountain behind him as Janice picking up another elimination there onto Sapphic. Tayson, though, is the story of the day. Can he hold the lead? The largest lead we've seen in between first and second, and he's looking to make it even larger here with this elimination, but someone else being a nuisance and shooting some shots over towards Kylix. Tayson not peeking, is waiting for the right time to make his move and to make that striking distance and close it. We'll have to wait and see if he's going to be able to stay alive or get that elimination. There's Snazy now sitting in this box looking for the same amount of eliminations as he's going for shots all around players.
The champions and all that clout is great, but because Tayson is occupying so many of those points, everyone else who's in 2nd to 10th right now, each one of their interactions against each other is going to matter in terms of the placement, in terms of the money you end up walking away with. And also, man, 2nd sounds so much better than 8th or 7th or 6th, right? Like that battle for 2nd place and who can capitalize on this opportunity is still a huge moment. Going back and looking at the Solo World Cup, TSM's crew was able to go from 66 to 6 with a singular 7-game victory royale in the final moment. Will we see some similar heroics for somebody to charge up the leaderboard and push themselves in the top 5 while Tayson is just doing his best to avoid all conflict, because he knows the longer he holds on, the more likely he is to raise that axe at the end.
And just a reminder, every place past 6th place is an increase of $10,000. So if you are a Slicks, if you are Rifla, if you are Deceptos, that's what you're looking for. Kylix is trying to get up in there as well, up until that gap in between 1st and 2nd, where it's about a $25,000 increase. There's still a lot of money on the line looking for these players to grab, and I'm very concerned right now. Kylix, with this hunting rifle, is shooting shots over to Tayson. This is not looking good. If Tayson does not get out of the situation, Kylix should get the snipe onto him, and the pressure is coming through. Will Kylix hit it? Will he hit the shot that will end Tayson's run? His shots are coming through. 129 effective HP in a very bad spot. Everybody knows he just got tagged up as well. Will he be WQ'd by Kylix here? The pressure come through, and Kylix is going in. The crash pad's going to be used, but Kylix is very low HP, 66 HP there. Tayson may be too aggressive here. He's got the hunting rifle. He could go for a little snipe there. If he does, it would need to be perfect. He's going to look for it. He's going to look for it. He takes him down. Tayson is down at 60 points.
Tayson smelt blood in the water with Kylix pinned against the outside of the zone, but Kylix says, let's open up the floodgates. Let's give the opportunity for somebody to have that heroic moment. Number 1 is down. I repeat, number 1 is down. E11's Tayson has been taken out at 60 points. That's the line we're looking at. Can anybody possibly catch him? Who's in the conversation? It's going to take the victory royale and much, much more, but all of a sudden, this game has so much more tension on it as the victory lap has been canceled early. He pulled up, and now can anybody else close that gap? Anas doing his best right there, picking up an elimination, but he has a long rotation to go before he gets into the zone.
And Cardin and Kazakhs are not going to let him get there easy. They're not going to let an easy rotate come out. So he does have crash pads and launch pads there. What's concerning for Anas is the amount of AR in his inventory. Now, if he knows that Tayson just went down, if their feed showed it, and he doesn't have that anonymous mode on, Anas is going to be very, very, very hungry for placement. He's just going to look to try to set up in a good spot, but right on the edge of zone, there's going to be players looking for you. And you see the quick edit. That's there. Gonna protect him for a little bit, but he's running out of hard mats, and you see the wood being built there. He's got to be careful. Carton setting up nearby as well. Question is Rifla still in a good spot to contend as well? There's so many players that are on the cusp of taking this game away from Tayson. It is going to be so, so close.
But don't forget, the line is 60 points. So while they're close, they need a lot. Tayson had a monumental performance in last game, and Anas is trying to double it up right now. We talk about it. It's going to take all the skill, a little bit of luck, and a bunch of execution. And right there, some good shots coming through, but not going to be able to find the loot afterwards. So who are we looking at who can potentially close it if they win the game? Rifle is in the conversation. Deceptos, Hen, Reason, Vadil, Snazy, Letwick, Frenzy Fishy, and Anas. Any of those players, if they're still up, gaining eliminations and gaining points, are slowly going to be shrinking that gap. So keep an eye on the yellow numbers to the left of their name in their HP pool, as well as the top left for any of those guys going down or picking up points. Circle 4 is revealed, and pretty much everyone has already established themselves. So we're going to wait, and we're going to roll the dice and see where circle number 5, that half in, half out zone that triggers the initial use of utility, where does it pull? And which one of these key players can capitalize on the position and the opportunity they're given. This is the final game. There is 4 storm zones left after this. 52 players up. Number 1 is down. Can anybody catch him, or will Tayson's lead be enough to just barely edge him over the top? There's the zone on the far west side, Clay.
And Rifle has no mobility. He's got to make a play. Reminder, AR Baffo is right nearby Rifle. If he gets too aggressive and shoots a little bit too early, Baffo will strike. We've seen him hop out of cones into players' boxes to look for it. That is not good for Rifle. He needs to rotate soon. He's got to go up. Exactly. He's got to follow that path that was just built for him. Because if he doesn't, he's going to get capitalized. But there's Baffo's moving. Baffo's moving behind. Shots come through. Down to 131 HP. Rifle needs to get out of this one. Sniper is out. Baffo is rotating there as well. He realizes that crash pad going to be used. Chug Splash, rather. He doesn't have any crash pads in his inventory. He's got to be careful he doesn't overpeak this. If a shot comes through that tags the shield, he's got nothing left there. 170 is going to find a launch pad. But is it enough? Is he getting a shot of the air? 114 shields are broken. Everybody knows. Tags go through and Rifle's down. Number 2 is out of the game.
Twain's picking that one up, saying, "No run for you, sir. You must be this tall to ride the ride, and you will go down." Frenzy Fishy picking up one, so he's going to start moving his way up the leaderboard. We're inside the top 50, so that's another placement point down. Everyone who's contending for Tayson getting those points, he did not. He went down outside of that threshold. Again, the line is 60. Can anybody cross it towards the end? It's up for grabs. If somebody in the top 10 can seize the moment and be the one to lift it up and deny the E11 player, the Slovenian Lord, that Axe of Champions. And right now, Air Baffo trying to find some space. The 5th zone is closing, which means we have the late game, the full moving coming right after that, and we're over sweaty sand, so tons of natural building in play, excess materials that can come out, but also weird rotational paths as Baffo pushes in, continuing with the aggressive playstyle and takes out Floppa Michael.
60 points is what everybody needs to be thinking about right now. That is the number that you need to break. You also need to pick up a victory royale if you're just going for 60. The 61 points is where you really need to be shooting. That is a very tall order to ask.
I mean, 61 realistically, too, because even with the Victory Royale, Tayson has the highest eliminations out of anybody in this tournament right now, so he owns that tiebreaker solidly. Now we're going to hop on board here with Deceptos, who's currently below Storm Surge, and we're actually going to need 14 players to drop, so that could end up coming into play with how fast this zone closes. If everybody prioritizes rotation, and with nobody wanting to drop, you could see that happen, but right now, Deceptos trying to find a pick. This is the final game of the EU FNCS, the final circles. 3 left. Number 1 player is down, and who can catch him? 61 points is what it will take to lift that axe and be the one who walks away with $80,000 in the end, and it's all about if you can catch Tayson.
And Deceptos 10 looking to do it. 42, 43 points each. They're very, very close. And now going up. He doesn't have a lot of HP. He's going to need to find something. Crash pad's being used, trying to build to keep a little bit of a mid-ground chart, but not going to be able to do it. Benji making a run to just try to separate his game and try to get as many placement points and move himself up the leaderboard as he can, because he's out of contention for the Action Champions. AR Baffo there as well. Mongrel in this game. Scram going down. Hen trying to make something happen. Janus going to go down. Mongrel going to fall, as well as Orange. Hen picks up another elimination. This could be his run as well, but it's going to be very, very close.
Storm Surge will turn off there as we have the top 30. Janus picking up an elim there. But Hen, if he wants the win, he needs to put his foot on the gas, right? The placement points aren't just enough. The Victory Royale isn't enough. We saw Tayson, he had 12 elims. Every one of those elims was a point that pushed him farther up. And while being still in the game gives you opportunities, if you want to seize the moment and you want to say your best of the best, you have to go now. You have to be pushing people. You have to be converting on the points, because there's only 19 elimination points available right now. You have to start finding them. Top 20, so the placement points are ticking down right now. And Hen, completely out of builds, needs the elimination just for the refresher. He's doing his best, making this a platform game. Diving around, looping on the corner, finds the first shot, can't find the second, and he gets taken down. Top 15 taking over and looking at the names of the lobby. I think only Frenzy Fishy has a chance, and I don't think he has enough elims this game going through. Tayson is going to be your FNCS solo champion, but it's about who can get that second place right now. if they're able to push forwards here, Deceptos theoretically could eliminate every single player in the lobby and go for it, but we talked about it. You have to be pushing the pace. Instead, he's saying, okay, I understand Tayson has that W. I know he's probably going to take the first spot, but if I can stay in this lobby, I'm going to pass other players. Everyone else has gone down, and now he's dropping in 112 on the first one, but he gets walled off. 35 HP, uses the crash pad, but he goes up vertically and not into the box. Top 10, and another point ticks over. Deceptos goes down with 49. Now it's all about pride, the final victory royale, in beating the person next to you, getting a little bit more of a payday in the final game here.
And Bafo could get that. He's at 40 points. We saw Deceptos go down with 49. This could be a second place run for Bafo. Stroky trying to make something happen there as well. 4 eliminations here for AR Bafo. Eliminations coming through all around for Stroky on that high ground. Looking to break his way on down. Shots coming through for Stroky down very, very low. Has to box on up. Twain's doing that. Nade dropping down. Bafo trying to just make something happen. 100 effective HP. 5 builds there for them. For Stroky getting tagged up there by Twain. Shots coming through. He's trying to hit him, but he's not going to make it. No, he does. Elimination comes through. Bafo trying to make something happen as well. Dropping down to the outside. Going around the boxes. Is going to find some loot. He's going to fall there to zone. Bafo with 4 eliminations. Looking again to get number 5, number 6, and number 7 as more people are falling. And Bafo clutches up the last elimination for the victory royale. But I don't think he's going to get second. I think he's going to take third.
What a huge push from Bafo at the end. We talked about it, how every interaction will matter. And while E11's Tayson is the best player in Europe for this season, walking away with the AXA champions, the 80 grand, and all of the clout, Bafo takes game number 6. He'll rocket himself up the leaderboard. He'll earn a nice little payday in the clutch moments, and you can see there just how good Tayson was today. 22 eliminations, averaging a placement of 27th, but the big one, Clay, was that 12 elimination victory royale in game number 5.
What an insane way to secure yourself that number 1 spot. It was dicey towards the end, but I think we all knew that Tayson just had to stay alive just a little bit, and he did that, and he walks away with the victory.
We talked about it specifically. It would need a heroic effort from somebody in the top 10, but instead a heroic effort from Bafo, who was 26 before that. But where will he end up on the final leaderboards? We're going to throw it back on over to Zeke, Bala, and Shayo to close this one up. Thank you guys so much for watching.
Sundown Clay, absolutely incredible casting on the day. You guys were so on point with these calls. I mean, it did come down to the wire. And for sure, Tayson is the FNCS champion. And now will walk away with the Axe of Champions. Now, of course, big props. But now we take a little bit of a turn here and look at everyone else. Second between fifth, because placing up there is a pretty considerable amount of money.
Yeah, and to get there, how things were, all the way till the final second, the final shot, the top 10 switched up. So, looking at what it is now, after Game 6, after this grueling process for Europe is over, it's Tayson at the top spot, 60 points, $80,000. At 10th is Anas still holding on, 7,000 for him, 41 points. But look at the names in between.
There's so much to break down on this page. First off, of course, Tayson winning, and Janice had won the last invitation. That is his former duo partner, so they've got to be feeling good after back-to-back, basically, championships from them. Tayson at 60 points, but Deceptos held on. That final moment, it looked like he was going to go for it, but unfortunately, he fell just a little short, but enough to propel himself and hold on to that second place. And then in third, this was the man who rose up in the final game, 19 points. He was way below Sundown said 26th place. He went from $2,000 earned that you can see basically on this page all the way up to $45,000.
That is such a huge boost. And also, to boot, AR Bafo, Deceptos, Twains, people in the top 10, 2 of them, second and third place. This is their first Grand Finals appearance, and what a big appearance and a performance it was. Like, man, no practice in these types of lobbies, no real experience on the big stage, and they pull that out? Unprecedented.
Yeah, absolutely. But it was a battle all the way through. Vidil, Nate, Letwick. Letwick did so well in those early moments, but unfortunately falls out of the top 10. Still, solid performance from all these guys. Qualifying for the grand finals and then getting up to this top 20 is definitely something to be proud of. And there were so many moments that we remember from these guys, from Mongrel throughout the season, from Snipe today in the grand finals, from Flois in that very first game. He owns that 20.
One person here today as well who had a win, Slender. I feel like he's one of my favorite players coming out of Europe that I really haven't been able to watch before. He showed us his prowess in every single stage of the tournament, especially in grand finals with that win that he had. $2,500, 24th place, and a few points to boot. Very good performance from him.
And just generally, great performances across the board. You know, we cannot stress this enough. This is the top 100 players in the region. They have the bragging rights. They are allowed to say, I made it to the grand finals of the FNCS. After a grueling gauntlet, I stood at the top. Now, of course, Tayson will hold the axe of champions for now, but for everyone else here, they can truly say they are the cream of the crop.
And I think one thing that these guys are going to look forward to now is the solo season wraps for EU. Obviously, they're going to, watch the rest of this too, because we got NA East coming up next with some very interesting storylines too. But for now, they get to take a breather, relax a little bit as we head up into the next FNCS season or whatever comes after that, because I know people are excited.
Yep, and now we're looking at how things look after the heats in a top 100 stack lobby in a region that's what people say is the best to watch, the best to see. So definitely going to see the changes over in NA East, and definitely going to take a slight breather to see and catch up on those games too.
Well, Shy put it best. Guys, that's it for Europe, but don't forget we are back later to wrap up NA East and crown an FNCS champion there. Till then, Fortnite fam, we'll see you guys on the Battle Bus.